So this afternoon, thanks for joining. Before we start, make sure that you log on the app and that you vote for your favorite for the award for the vendors. We're going to have a 45-minute session together again with a great case study welcoming today Geek Plus. So we've got two persons from Geek Plus to introduce the solution. The idea is to understand how to empower online operations through smart logistics and smart robotics. So for this, I've got here on stage Marie Peterson, which is International Director, Marketing and Communication at Geek Plus. And I've got Jan Jongbloed, which is European Key Account Director. We've got a case study around a couple of clients with a deep dive with myEnso, which is a client that Marie and Jan will introduce you to. So it's all yours, guys. Maybe you can quickly introduce yourself and what you do, what's your role in the company before we start on the presentation.
Sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Marie Peterson. I oversee international marketing and communications and overall kind of business development for Geek Plus outside of China. And I've been with the company for a bit over 2 years now. So I've seen it grow from maybe about, 25, 30 people internationally to now hundreds of people and projects in all the continents. So it's been very exciting.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jan Jongbloed, also working for Geek Plus. Not that long, since the 1st of May, but I'm coming out of the material handling and AGV business, so already pretty up to speed, I have to say. I'm responsible for key accounts in Europe, so we are setting up a global key account program, and I'm being responsible for the European part. And also, we are selling our products through partners, also setting up that partner network in Europe.
So, Marie, we'll start with the presentation. If you want to interact with us and ask questions during the presentation, feel free to do it. We need to do that to be immersive and very interactive.
Yes, please don't hesitate so we can, have more of a discussion. I've been told that kind of the level of knowledge, understanding around AMRs is very varied from people. A lot of you must know these solutions quite well. Some of you maybe don't. So I will do kind of a quick intro on, what we do and what our AMRs are before digging into kind of cases. So first, as many of you, yes?
Can I just ask one question? If you use abbreviations like AMR?
Yes. Yes, sorry. So first, so AMR stand for Autonomous Mobile Robots, and basically they're robots that are embedded with intelligence, so they can move around by themselves and work with algorithms that are going to kind of guide their path so that they can make more informed decisions into your operations. So AMRs and robots are, the future of automation after fixed infrastructures that we've been used to, and even traditional AGVs. And the forecasts, the market is huge. There's huge demand around these things that's basically very much linked to the industries that are fast changing with changes in consumer demand. So one, the apparel industry, AMRs are, really tailored to specific characteristics, such as fast delivery requirements, large SKUs, low inventories, and, the need exceedingly large volumes of deliveries and returns. This is also paired increasingly with the e-commerce industry, and again, AMRs are particularly useful in e-commerce because they enable businesses to set up their own e-commerce processes and really kind of own their e-commerce business instead of relying on, companies like Amazon, for example. You would implement your own AMRs to improve your logistics. Again, retail, and of course, logistics and 3PLs in general. So we have, why are AMRs beneficial to logistics processes? Once, AMRs, they enable more efficient picking. So your efficiency with AMRs will be on average 2 to 3 times higher than with traditionally manual operations. So that's the biggest effect that you're going to get in terms of efficiency for picking. Also, of course, they're going to bring lower labor costs. So whether you have high costs or whether you have issues with a scarcity of laborers, that's all the more important that you are now, there's an increasing use of flash sales if you're in e-commerce, or just peak management that requires flexible labor, which are often hard to find. It also requires lower investment. This is compared to fixed automation. So when you're investing in fixed automation, for example, like big conveyors, et cetera, you're going to be investing in these, doing huge initial investments for maybe 5 years. So it's using AMRs allow you to invest in, maybe you're just going to buy 10, 15 robots to do a small kind of system at first, and then you can scale that up easily. You don't need to invest all the money right away. In terms of peak management, it can help you. It's easy to increase or decrease the number of robots based on your forecasts. So again, it can be, it's an extremely flexible solution. Of course, you can relocate, kind of duplicate the solutions easily. It helps you optimize your storage space. ROI is faster. The accuracy is also much higher. Your operations are overall more safe, etc. So about Geek Plus, I don't know how much you guys know about the company. Geek Plus was founded in 2015. We launched our first picking system then. First working with huge Chinese e-commerce companies. In 2017, we opened our first international operations with our first international office in Hong Kong. Operations mostly in Asia Pacific region at first, as well as in Japan. And then we started expanding internationally starting 2017. And 2019, we opened headquarters in Europe and in the United States. So we're now present in all continents. Here in Europe, we have a team of close to 100 people with our headquarters in Düsseldorf, and country teams that are being set up. And then we also, in 2020, we were able to effectively navigate COVID, including working with partners on the technical and on the logistics sides worldwide. We have over 15,000 employees, 1,500 employees now. Over half of these actually work in R&D. So our main R&D center is in Beijing, but we also have engineering teams in each of our regional offices as well. We have, over 300 clients. We've deployed the largest number of robot fleet worldwide at over 20,000 now. And of course, we've, as a very fast-growing startup, we're now have also raised a lot of money to help and grow our presence as fast as we can. One specificity of Geek Plus is that in China, we operate and own our own warehouses. So basically, we act as a 3PL for a lot of our international clients. What that specificity enables us to deploy our solutions in our warehouses and kind of test them out. It's not a small amount of space. We have over 300,000 square meters of warehouses in China that we fully operate ourselves. We work with international clients, moving their products in China, helping them access, the Chinese consumer market. And what that has helped us do is, for example, test the flexibility of our solutions during massive peak sessions, such as 11/11 Shopping Festival, where we've been able to move millions of products in under 24 hours, enabling same-day delivery. So we really are able to kind of test out our own capabilities. We also we have our own manufacturing plants that are fully automated in China, where we build our own robots. For clients, our main kind of value creation is that we have we focus on return on investment, fast deployment, and obviously efficiency improvement. in terms of solutions, we have a wide range of solutions. What we'll here, the main topic here is our goods to person, goods to man solution, which we'll present with the myEnso case study a bit later. But we also have various solutions for various scenarios. So for goods to person, there's our P series. We have a robot shuttle, which is a high density solution. The aisle pick is a collaborative robot for more like micro-fulfillment areas. And then, of course, we have intelligent sorting for parcel sorting. Our moving and AMR forklift solutions are more for industrial scenarios, so not so relevant to the audience today. Our goods-to-person solution, maybe I'll show you kind of a general intro of the two types of solutions we have. One is the picking and the other is the robot shuttle. Which can be used, the picking solution can be used with various racks, pallets, and to have all kind of sizes of parcels depending on your scenarios. So they can carry up to 1,000 kilos. We have different sizes, again, depending on what kind of products customers are moving. And robot shuttle here is the 5-meter high one. We've actually just launched our RS8, which will be available in Europe Q1 next year, which is an 8-meter high robot. And this solution paired with our little P conveyor robots can help you hit up to 600 picks per hour. And then just another kind of quick video around the warehouse. And again, the goods to person picking. So instead of having your workers walk around the area, they stay at the picking station where our software system also enables, multiple order flow pick, and just the entire warehouse basically becomes, we provide the software to help make it overall more flexible. This is just in general, we have certification for everything. I'm going to go maybe a bit faster so we can interact more. We have our modular software platform. So actually the majority of our engineers are software engineers, because what really makes the added value of the solution is the software and the AI that goes with it. Our software is mobile, is modular. It can be plugged into your existing WMS. We can also develop our own with you. It can really be the different APIs of their interface allows us to really plug into your existing operations fairly seamlessly. And then obviously the entire process is AI, so it's not just the robots that are smart, the large-scale scheduling, so the robots can actually move, on their own. They will make their decision depending on the best path. They will go charge themselves by themselves as automatically. The warehouse also we have AI algorithms for order management, inventory management, and then we can also provide value-added services depending on your operations if you want to do, a better promotion strategy based on your order analysis. Yeah.
Thanks, Mari, for this deep introduction already. We might have some question already, maybe on the implementation, the floor, layout, organization. If you guys, we've got. So, can you please introduce yourself, role, and company?
So chef director, Wayfair furniture company. Right? So so much into that now. Just as I already asked one stupid question, I can also ask a second one maybe for the audience. So, what is the difference between AMR and AGV? That we want to think.
I shall take that one. I think if you look at the conventional AGV systems, they rely on infrastructure. So you have either a laser navigation to know where the vehicle is. They need reflectors, or you have tape-guided vehicles, these kind of things. these robots don't need an infrastructure. Then you can say, okay, the solutions we are proposing for picking, they have a QR code on the floor. But the essential difference is that with the conventional AGV systems, they have a guide path. And once you give them a transport order, they have to go from A to B and finish that transport order in order to receive the next one. I think with the conventional, with the innovative robots, you can change your path anytime. So you give an instruction to go from A to B, but halfway you say, okay, this is not a clever thing, so I have to interrupt them. You can interrupt it. That's one example. Another example is that you can have an abstraction, for example, and then you can also give that transport order to another robot. So there's a high level of redundancy. So more flexibility with the AMR systems robots than the conventional AGV systems.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So my name is Patrick. I run the supply chain management at Spring Lane. We sell barbecues and kitchen appliances. And so one question was actually already answered, but I would still like to learn a little bit more about how these robots navigate themselves without guidance systems. So it would be nice to know what kind of infrastructure, if any, we have to build in order to implement these robots. And then maybe you could go into how the solution works. If you're imagining a palletized warehouse, palletized goods that are actually pretty heavy, like up to 30 kilos. In the videos I've seen, you use specialized racks, specialized boxes. So if you don't have that, is your solution still workable?
Okay, let me first answer the first question. We have two types of navigations. For the picking systems, we have QR codes on the floor. It is a cost-effective navigation system. All these picking systems are very much focusing on a low ROI. I think that makes us successful. So we're aiming for an ROI within the 3 years. If it's more than 3 years, then we start already asking questions. Is this really a project? So it's a cost-effective navigation system. There is also no need for a personal safety system because the system is fenced off. Principle of every vehicle is that they have their encoder. So based on encoders, you send them to a certain destination. But the QR codes are a kind of a reference system, though they constantly check, okay, I see this QR code, is this the position where I'm expected to be? And you can make some corrections. That is for the fenced-off systems, QR codes, and for the systems that are in an open environment. So an open environment means that also personnel can walk into, and once they detect a person or an objective, then it has to stop. It has to be 100% safe. We do that with SLAM navigation. So we map the environment and we point out some markers, some how do you call it, columns, for example, of fixed points in the layout. And based on these fixed points, I always have to see 3 points to exactly know where I am. I have built up my reference navigation system. I think that answers your first question.
Yes, so you map the warehouse, and then the robot knows the map, and then with cameras, basically it sees its surroundings and can navigate.
Yeah,
That's for the collaborative area, if you're in a manned robot.
Yeah, we use scanners for mapping the environment, and then we determine the landmarks, and then we are navigating on these landmarks. Correct. Yeah.
And on the pallet position question.
Yeah, pallet position. I think I'm not sure you're talking about storage of pallets in racks or storage. Okay, then you come to these the forklifts application, which is not available yet in Europe, but is available in Asia and will be ready, I think, for release next year, Q3 next year, for Europe. What is critical in that process is, of course, the type of pellets you're using. I think in Europe you see we are very much standardized on a couple of type of pallets, which is very good. So we first have to see what the level of standardization is, and if there's a low level of standardization, whether the pallets are accepted in such a way that they have a consistency in their format. So that is open for some analysis studies.
If I may, I have a follow-up question.
Go ahead.
So that would mean you could only pick the full pallet, or also like in the video, you have to pick the full box, right? If there are many or multiple items and you just need one, then it gets difficult, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So we're picking the full pallet, the full tote, the full rack in that case, and then at the workstation we do item picking, send back the residual pallet or box. Correct.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So.
Okay, maybe we'll just, because I think this will probably help bring a bit of color.
Yeah.
So this case, the myEnso's online supermarket, German online supermarket company, a pure player that was founded 5 years ago, and they basically were founded to help citizens that live, people that live outside of city centers, and with the closing of lots of supermarkets, to help them access to produce like a diversity of products. And entirely online. So they partner, actually, they have a very large amount of SKUs. They partner with local producers and with traditional brands. And what makes their model interesting is they have customers vote for which products they want to use online, they want to buy, they want to have. So they need a really dynamic kind of process for their logistics to accompany very rapid changes in their SKU markup. They were based in Bremen. They have opened to accompany this growth, they opened a new fulfillment center in the region to serve out to northern German customers. The objective was to do same-day delivery. They partnered with Geek Plus to automate their fulfillment center, so for their e-commerce business. And the project challenge was that they had, as I said, rapidly changing SKUs. They needed to improve the level of order fulfillment service without having a lot of upfront investment. Their data management was not adapted to the Geek Plus system, so we had to work together to make sure that would fit. They also needed to relocate their entire inventory to their new warehouse in a very quick amount of time, and we had a very firm delivery date. Otherwise, they would be losing quite a lot of investment on the relocation of their products. And actually, we were able to finish the project a day before, so it went online in under, I think, one or 2 months. And they needed to have same-day delivery for their customers. They had obviously high labor costs and scarcity, and their manual operations just couldn't meet with their operations objective. So this is what we set up for myEnso, and we have a short video to show you afterwards. But basically, we use the P500, which carries up to 500 kilos. So they're the kind of the smaller version of the P series, carrying racks with lots of various products, mostly essential products for daily needs. 4 picking stations, 2 put-away stations, 4 charging stations, which you can see are the yellow points up on top, and 400 sets of shelves. So what we provided was the software, the robot management system software, the picking stations, the shelves, the charging stations, and the 30 robots. So the impact for them was, 99.99 accurate operations. The contract was signed at the end of last year. The installation was with their new operating in June 2021. The system was set up in under 1 month. It started in August and it was live by September. The results were increase in storage capacity, 30% less manual labor, and just a capability to really adapt to their overall operations. Here is, I think their main objectives were accuracy and flexibility, especially as this was to really accompany their new business model. And so we were able to meet these demands, and now it has also enabled them, I think, to open new perspectives for their business development in northern Germany, but also in the rest of the country.
So on this specific example, Mary, the implementation was actually to work on a specific floor, new layout and mapping, and I think that could be of interest for some of the audience here. The implementation process takes, you said, about 12?
It takes 1 to 3 months on average, depending on the operations. It's faster. It can be 3 months if we're in existing operations, because we need to move with your existing layout. If it's a new center, it can be much faster, as was the case for myEnso.
And training on the workforce and so on, everything goes together. Is it quite fast and update also on the boat and so on? Can you give us a bit more on that?
We do the entire installation ourselves, and training is, the training for the system for the workers is very simple, because I did the training in about a couple hours. It's really easy to understand. The system is really made for once it's set up, it's made to work 24/7. If you have one point of failure, the system doesn't stop. So it's very easy to kind of come in and fix an issue if that happens.
And the operation is actually round the clock. Like you can work 24/7.
Yes.
And then did you see on your client side the way they organize, the shifting for the workforce? Did you see something changing here, because you can actually face peak demands, and does that have an impact on the way the shift and the workers are actually working on the environment, on the shifts, for example?
Well, in the case of myEnso, not specifically, but in general, yes, because you have to deal with. They don't really have one peak area. It's kind of constant, so it just enabled them to have a much more flexible system that can manage changes in SKUs. I think that's their main issue, and fast demand deliveries. But for a system in general, managing peak is very easy, because you will have a certain amount of workers that are hired to do the year-round job, and then if you need to add, you can just add one picking station, a couple robots you can rent actually from us just for a couple weeks, or if you're anticipating that you're going to have double or triple orders around Black Friday, for example, we can just add in new robots, and you won't need to change the number of workers so much. You can,
Okay.
Do you have anything? No. I can maybe show you what it looked like in the end. Here it should play. So the entire area that is the AMR area is completely unmanned, and the picking stations you can see on the right side with the robots bringing the racks, and because they work 24/7, they can also rearrange themselves based on the order forecast. So if you're entering like rainy season, for example, they would bring umbrellas in front of the warehouse automatically, and then bring the summer products in the back. And that's just a simple example of how the entire system is extremely modulable.
Yes, question.
I would have one other question. How do you ensure quality assurance and inventory accuracy, right? So there's no one going into that field and just counting and checking. And so is there any solution that you have, for example, if a shelf passes by, there's a photo taken and I compare the before and after, so that so for quality assurance point of view?
There are various solutions. It starts already with the input. Input need to be accurate, and the data you have to put into the system should be accurate. So we can provide, of course, on the screen, the operator is told you have to put 20 units into this box or 70 units in that box. You can build in a scanning option, so you do the check that the chance of making a failure, of counting failure, is minimum. That's at the input end. At the output end, also there are various options. When you do the picks, you also can do the scan. Could be done by a RFID. Could be done by a scanner. We have a put-to-light system to put the order lines into the correct tote. So that's also close to 100% certainty what you're doing there. These are all options to choose, so it slows down the picking process, so therefore options to choose. If an operator is making an count error at the input, for example, and a picker is missing 2 units, then the picker can easily on the screen make a correction and say, okay, there's supposed to be 2 units, there's only 0 units, so I put it on 0 and send it back to the storage. That's a normal daily operation. The other function we have is cycle counting. We do cycle counting, and that means you call out a rack, you do some checks, you confirm, and send back. Yeah, the normal workstations are used for that. So it's not a special cycle count station. The normal picking stations are used for that.
You are talking about efficiency 180 picks per hour, but this is without any scanning. I understand.
Yeah, also we have to be careful about stating how many picks we are doing per hour. Also, there it depends on indeed, are you doing a scanning or not? How many items do you have per order line? What is your hit rate? I think also what we're aiming to do as part of our AI functionality. So we get a batch of orders downloaded from the WMS, and then we start combining orders, and with the objective that we have a maximum hit rate. So if you call a rack or a tote to a workstation, that you can have multiple order lines for multiple orders.
But the picking is depending deeply on the scanning, and commonly discussed on the presentations, for example, on the YouTube, and we see 180, but this is without scanning. That's what I understand from
Yeah, well, what I said, it could be if I only have one item per order line, and I have to scan that doesn't have a huge effect on my productivity. If I have eight items per order line, and then it is more complicated. 180, that's based on the rack solution, like we are presenting here to myEnso. If you talk about the robo shuttle, the tote system, technically we're able to achieve even 600, bringing 600 totes to the workstation per hour. I think a more realistic number is somewhere between the 250 and 400 picks per hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead, Patrick.
Thank you. I think the solution to be able to scale in peak season with additional robots that you rent out is very interesting. But what happens if you run out of robots to rent in peak season at Christmas time?
Yeah, which definitely will be the case because more customers are interested in that solution. So if we sign an agreement with you, then we guarantee that these robots are available. Cannot be the case that you tell me, okay, the end of November, or let's say the end of October, I need 20 robots because the November and December month is busy for me. Then we haven't made a reservation. So it goes with the contract so that we can make reservations. The good thing is also I experienced myself, especially in the fashion. Yeah, the peak is not with November and December, but the peak is more in spring and in autumn. So also we see customers, they have different peaks, and that's of course for us, but also for you as a customer who has to pay a rental fee is interesting if we can spread it more.
On the future development, I think you've got we talked about the capacity to work on an omni-channel environment too, and especially with an example that follows with Decathlon, especially in China too, but maybe you go ahead on that.
I think one interesting development for myEnso is that they've started as a purely online player. So their business model was to do like an online supermarket with like local products and a big product mix. And they're actually working on opening their first physical supermarket. And so what that would mean, and to have a more omni-channel strategy, they can use our system in the same warehouse, the same location to do that. And we've done that in the past. So one of our historical clients is Decathlon. It's typically what we've worked on with them for actually now all of their operations in China, as well as, I think 6 or 7 countries now in Europe and North America. We have, and I think I wanted to show you this, about kind of the history of how we worked with them, which started as a very small proof of concept for first their e-commerce business, developing e-commerce business in China. And so we set up a certain number of robots just for e-commerce. And then little by little, they have a massive warehouse in Kunshan, which is near their logistics hub near Shanghai. And they have a retail area and a e-commerce area, and we've worked with them to create a real omnichannel strategy in China with a mix of e-com and retail, and it also enables them to move robots from their retail section to their e-com section. To answer one of your questions about the robot rental, is when you have an omni-channel strategy and you have huge e-commerce peak seasons, which like with flash sales, it's pretty easy to move from one to another. So with myEnso, that now that they're looking at kind of 2 directions. One is duplicating these projects in other regions of Germany to help grow their brand and enable same-day delivery in the rest of the country, and also develop an omni-channel strategy starting right now in their historical area in around Bremen with their first supermarket. So yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Jan. Do we have any other question in the? Yeah, go ahead again.
You said that the big part of your staff are programmers, and where is the programmers where they are located? Because currently we have a lot of problems with let's say, reliability of programming which is coming from China, because there are so many problems with, for example, now it looks like open conflict, US and China, blocking of deliveries. So if all the source code and everything from China, then the support future technologies, the databases, everything.
No. So yeah, we have obviously like our main research and development center is in China, like in Beijing. That's where the product team is. That's where a lot of the innovation when you're looking at new products. That's so like I would say the mid to long term strategy in terms of like new product development is going to be based there for now. That's like our big center is there. But we do have like engineering software teams in each of our areas. So in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in the UK, in Düsseldorf, to work on the local, like to be able to support the projects locally. So in terms of data storage and data management, obviously we have data centers outside of China. It's really not that centralized. It's more in terms of innovation. A lot of that is still happening in China also because they have access to the biggest scenarios. So when you look at the data that you're working with, like the biggest innovations that the software engineers in our AI, we have an AI center, they're gonna be working on the most sophisticated data they're gonna get, and that's gonna come from huge projects, and those are gonna be more based in China than anywhere else because they also have the most advanced, I mean, most of you probably know this, but China, and as a e-commerce hub, has by far the most advanced and sophisticated processes, and so we're working on those. Yeah.
What are the databases below? Is it Oracle, Microsoft?
Yeah. Yes.
So yes, Oracle or yes, Microsoft?
Both. We work with Microsoft. Well, Microsoft is actually our preferred global partner.
On the basis of Microsoft databases, on this there is a source code and the programming done by R&D in China, yes? I understand.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the programming level. Okay.
Do you have anything you want to add on this? I think.
The only thing I like to add, you were talking about bugs, resolving bugs. The product of Geek Plus is very much standardized, and if you see, my previous company was also an AGV company. If I see the level of standardization, and that means things that are tested before we start using it in the system is extremely high, and also the risk of having bugs on site is extremely low. That's what I want to add.
All right, thank you. I think time is over. If we don't have any last question, you can find Geek Plus booth just right in the middle. You will see the structure. They've got the bots running. Thank you for your participation. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.